making sure all the buttons are pushed correctly, because we know as content creators, when we want to put a message out there on social media and then we rush and we don't push the right buttons, or we forget, and then we come back and go, wow, that was the best video or message I ever made, and now I can't share it. So anyways, thank you for listening to me babble. And that is actually an example of what could happen right now as we're feeling this chaotic and crazy energy of Mercury retrograde. Because as a top Canadian astrologer, I'm here to share with you, and in all of my messages for the entire month of December and into early January, that we are now in the energy of the final, yes, the final Mercury retrograde cycle of 2023. So if you are not an astrologer, but you've kind of heard the buzz about Mercury going retrograde and you start freaking out, I'm just here to remind you that we can embrace a Mercury retrograde cycle as an opportunity for healing and growth, especially in our personal relationships and how we're expressing love. So if you don't personally know me, if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Tammeron, and I am a certified astrologer in Canada. I'm always wearing my fleece stuff, especially in the winter. And I'm also a certified health coach for the past 15 years now or so, maybe actually even longer if I check that. It's almost time to rewrite that bio at the end of the year for my business. And I also consider myself a spiritual alchemist. And the reason why is because when people come to me when they're in a crisis or a challenge in their personal lives or even in their business matters, magic always starts to happen. And it's because I make remedies based on what the story is that you're telling me, what it is I'm hearing, what I reflect back to you, and also what remedies that I refer, so that you can stay emotionally balanced and we transform anything negative into something positive, so that you can ride through the crisis or a challenge and then get the nugget at the end. And that's the magic, that's the gold. But let's face it, it's not fun when you're in a challenging times. And so during Mercury retrograde, tend to get the calls, get people messaging me or wanting advice. And so this is why I make these videos all the time, so that this is free content for you and everyone, because I'm going to give everybody the same advice. So if you haven't seen any of my videos for this week, I'm going to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel called Innerlightsacademy TV. I will put the video link below this message here on Facebook, and I'm going to get you to go to the playlist called Your Time Matters. So hit the bell, get your subscribe going, so every Thursday you get the notification to go and watch my little mini video, which is only a couple of minutes long. And I'm going to explain to you what's happening in the astrological sky, what's actually in my teacup, what herb it is that I am using and drinking, because yes, I follow my own intuitive advice. And also I was giving you an action step, something to do. So it's always, let's get you moving and shaking, get you unstuck wherever it is that you're in. So with that being said, I am noticing that many people are already starting to feel the crazy chaos that's happening in their personal relationships, even though Mercury is not exactly retrograde yet. He goes retrograde in 5 more sleeps on December the 13th. So today is only the 9th. So remember, we're in the pre-shadow period where you might be feeling, you know, just a lot of miscommunication happening, meaning you're trying to say something to someone and they hear something completely different based on what's going on in their own mind and their emotional body. And so everything just gets discombobulated. And so it takes a lot of patience and time, and to honor what's happening for everybody, and to maybe even, like I say, to write down what it is that you want to say to someone before you say something, so that they hear it correctly or they read it correctly. So be careful with your messages, be careful what you're saying, and slow down a little bit. I know it's a crazy, hectic time of year. People are rushing around getting holidays and things done. But remember, you need to slow down. You need to practice self-care. And so for myself, I've been saying no to a lot of things and saying yes to what it is that I want and where I truly want to spend my time and who I want to spend my time with over the holidays. Because if we say yes to everything, then nobody gets that feeling of love, feeling like they matter. So that's just my personal expression of it. So also, what I wanted to share with everyone today was a little bit of a personal story. Now, this is a reflection of what I learned about myself when I became a certified astrologer, and that was during the COVID lockdown. So my intuition early in the COVID lockdown, when we got that news on the media that everybody had to go somewhere and go home and stay safe and stay protected and not to talk to anybody, I got the big, huge intuitive download to become a certified astrologer. And the reason why is because I was already studying on YouTube. I am a YouTuber. I love YouTube. So let me know if you're watching this in the comments below. Do you love YouTube? Do you get a lot of free content and educational material on there? Because I know I do. Anyhow, I was already studying a lot of information about understanding astrology, and it became very natural and easy for me to follow a lot of the content that I was watching on people that were teaching on YouTube. And a lot of things in my life started to make sense. Like I was repeating some patterns, things kept happening, and I was feeling like a victim, and yet I couldn't get to the other side and finding my power in a situation. And what I realized was that is my big spiritual lesson that I'm here to uncover and learn from in this lifetime. And that is based on the numerology of my own astrological birth chart. So when clients come to me in my 3-month program, this is the first piece of information I always give people. And the reason why is because I know it's going to make an impact. And people just go like, how do you know that? And I go, I don't need to know anything about you. I don't even need to meet you in person. I don't even need to hear what's happening in your story. I just know that based on the data and then the information that the way I study someone's chart is this is the reason why you are here. So you're going to keep repeating these same patterns. And I can absolutely guarantee those patterns are going to show up in your important relationships. Now, meaning family, relatives, people you work with, even some of your good friends, right? I honestly believe that when we are here, we're here to learn a specific lesson for ourselves. So we're going to have people coming in and out of our lives throughout so that we learn something about ourselves. So when something negative happens, we have to look back and go reflect and say, what's in it for me? Either I'm seeing the gold in the nugget and seeing how I can change something in ourselves to get to the other side, or, you're repeating that same cycle until you get the nugget. All right. So we got to get you out of that victim mentality. So if this is resonating with you right now, as we're rolling into Mercury retrograde and holiday season, and, a lot of people are like, I don't know if I want to spend time with this person, or yes, I want to spend more time with that person, or, you try to block people out or whatever, because you don't want to deal with stuff. Well, I'm telling you, this is the perfect time to deal with it in a genuine way and learning how to express yourself. And that's why the reason why for this month of December, up until the 24th, I am offering 20-minute, very focused astrology consultations to give you three important signatures from your own astrological birth chart. So you understand exactly what it is that you need to express love in your relationships, meaning this is what you need to feel loved, not about what the other person needs. Because if you are struggling, it might be because your astrology signatures are different. And that's based on elements. What we talk about in astrology, it's based on the 4 elements of nature. This is super powerful information. It changes people every single time I share it with them. And so this is why I can support you for such a low price. This is something that is much higher priced and will be much higher priced in the new year because it's a part of my 12-week program. If you want to work in a small group with me or even in private programs one-on-one, and I'm going to give you the deets. I'm going to give you those nuggets for this month of December. So I still have some openings left. You can send me a private message, share this video with somebody you know that might be struggling, and let's get you booked in, because I have time in my schedule now where I can have that Zoom call recording reading with you and give you the recording so you have it forever. But if I get too booked up, you might have to pay now, still get the deal, but you're not going to get the consultation with me until the new year. And I'll have a little bit of time in January before things start opening up again. So remind yourself to give yourself a gift this Christmas that helps you, rather than buying a bunch of crap and asking people for stuff you actually don't even need. How many shirts do you need? How many coats do you need? How many purses do you actually need? How much more electronics do you actually need? Does that actually make you feel happier in your relationships? No, because you haven't dealt with anything. You just kept blocking it and ignoring it. So if you're resonating, let me know, send me a message below. Okay, so getting back to my story, when I actually became a certified astrologer, I was studying some very specific signatures. And what I recognized from myself is that the way I express love is I need communication. I need to talk. I need to reach out, whether it's texting, messaging. I love the cards. I love it when people actually make time to hang out with me so I can hear what's happening in their lives. That's what I need for me. So when someone says to me, what do you want? What do you think my answer is going to be? I want to hear what's happening in your life. I want to hear the stories. I want you to call me. I want you to make plans with me so that I can hear, so that I can spend time with you. Because even for my love language, which is different from my astrology birth chart, that's a totally different concept altogether. I have two top love languages, and they are acts of kindness and time, spending time with people. So I want to spend time with the people I care about. And if I see people in need or something, and there's a way that I can help them, I do it. And my kids say to me, Mom, you actually do too much. You're always doing things for people. So again, I've had to learn how to manage my own boundaries and have more healthier boundaries now. Again, so that's why if you want to connect with me, you're going to have to book that time. You can't just randomly call me and, oh my God, I'm going crazy. Sorry, you got to book it, right? My time is not free. All right. It's very structured. And we need to learn this as entrepreneurs as well. And also, in my own astrological birth chart, what I recognized was that during the COVID lockdown, I couldn't see my friends and family because I was far away from them. So I asked myself, well, if I was around these people in person, what is it I would be doing right now as I prepare for the holiday season? Well, as someone who loves to cook and loves to bake, especially around the holidays, I would have been making cookies. I would have been making more desserts. I would have been making some of our traditional Ukrainian dishes that I used to prepare for my family. I mean, I used to have the parties in my own house for many years. In fact, 13 years of every single weekend. And that is no word of a lie. People in and out of my house. It felt like a hotel. And what did I love about it? I love that it gave me an opportunity to find new recipes, to swap recipes from other people I knew who I tried amazing food in their house, and to use that so that I could express love for the people that were in my own house. So even in my business, that is still a reflection, because when people come and stay in my Airbnb in the summertime, I'm always giving them little gifts. Oh, I just baked this. Here you go. I drop it off at their little cabin. And they're like, wow. In fact, one person said to me, you should have been a chef. And I said, yeah, I love to cook, but no, I would never want to be a chef. You can call me a foodie. right? So raise your hand. Let me know in the comments, are you someone who expresses love through cooking, right? Because to me, people feel the love in my food. Even energy healers, people that are into Reiki, people that are into energy work, when I give them something that I've baked, they just go bonkers, right? Because I love it. And so all of that love and energy is in my food. So during the COVID lockdown, I thought to myself, you know what? If I can't be with my family, especially my kids, I'm going to bake them the exact same things that I would have been baking, and I'm going to send it to them in a little Christmas holiday box. And I made sure it got there early. So when my kids got that first box and they opened it, it was filled with all kinds of holiday baking, some of their own favorite recipes, because I keep track, and I'm going to share my little recipe book that I first started. I keep track. So-and-so's favorite, so-and-so didn't like it. So when they're in my house or I'm visiting, I know what to bring them, because sometimes it can get crazy and we actually forget, and I don't want to forget. So I make notes. I make notes on everything. You should see, look at even behind me in my kitchen here. I make notes on some of the herbs and the products, maybe something that I don't use all the time, so that when I need something specific so that I feel better, I know what herb or tea or something it is that I use, because it can be crazy and confusing. Maybe another time I'll do a video. I'll actually open my cupboards for you guys, and you can see how organized and structured my food cupboards are in my ingredients, because I've got baking supplies behind me, actually in this cupboard. I've got tea supplies on top of the kettle. And then where am I going here? Over here are my supplements, and towards my fridge, I've got all of my stored herbs in a dark, cool place way over there on top of my fridge, right? And then I have all my cooking gadgets and stuff close to where it is that I cook. But I'm a little bit of a nerd, but I need to be organized. I run my kitchen and my house like a business. I once said that to someone. It's very structured. I know where everything is. So when my kids, getting back to my story, when my kids would open the boxes, they'd be so excited. I couldn't physically be there, but they got to feel the love in my cooking. And that's the reason why I'm making this video today, because I want you to understand that even in your own astrological birth chart, there is a signature in there. We call them signatures, where all the planets were in the sky the day you were born. And what the planet is, where it is, and what that planet represents is a signature for you. It means it's a story. So as we put the story of all the planets together, that's the story of your life. And there's a reason why you're here, how it's going to play out, how you're going to be in relationships with people to help you get the wisdom and the knowledge that you're here for. And also how you express yourself, what you need to feel, how you take courage, how your mind works, how you communicate. And also, one of my favorite things to uncover and to share with my clients is, what is something you can be doing, even if it's just 3 minutes a day, to help you feel more fulfilled? And this has nothing to do with your job. It has nothing to do with how you make money. It's what you do to make you feel so good right here. That's what I'm talking about. That is the vibe that shifts your energy, because you're so focused, it's like you lose track of time. And that's what happens to me when I'm in my kitchen. It's like I'm totally zoned out, right? And people feel that when they eat my food, right? So if you're understanding what I'm talking about, what I find is that people lose touch with that authentic energy that changes their vibe, because they were told they had to go get a job, they had to do this to survive, blah, 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 right? The stories that we're told that stick to us, right? That we keep listening to every single day. But an astrologer I can look at your chart and I go, have you ever thought about doing blah, 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 or spending more time doing this? And people go, yeah, I used to do that. I used to love doing that. And I say, then why don't you do some more of that? Because when you are happy, like me in my kitchen, your vibe changes and you attract and you manifest different people, opportunities into your life. People want to be around you. They want to be around happy people. Who wants to be around Debbie Downer? I know I don't, right? So remind yourself to think about what it is that makes you happy. Ask for it this Christmas, or even in your relationships if you're struggling. And if you're struggling, write it down first and see what happens, because that's where the miscommunication is actually occurring. You can start with just 3 minutes a day. All right. If you're still struggling, feel free to send me a message or comment below, or share this with someone who you know can actually benefit from this. And I'm giving you the sweetest deal this holiday season for my Advent holiday, for Advent calendar for adults. That's what I called it, for the holidays up until December the 24th. So we are on day 9. So we have 13 more days where you can grab that sweet deal and you get the recording. And to finish off, I'm going to share what it is that I've been working on this month, because people, especially my kids, love my baking. And what do they love the most? Shortbread. It's holiday season. And so I don't usually share my recipes. I'm not going to share the recipe with you, but I'm going to share something with you, especially if you're a woman or you're someone who needs to understand that what you have done for years and years that can help someone like that. There's value in that. There's value in where you spend your time. So I call my videos every week, Your Time Matters, because you need to understand that the way we make money and what's happening right now, abundance isn't about how much money you have in your bank account. Abundance is how you feel every day when you are awake. And what is something that makes you feel good that you can share that with someone else? And for me, my kids have been saying, Mom, I don't know why you just don't have a recipe book to share, because they know that other people can benefit from the years of me collecting my own favorite recipes. And this is the first recipe book that I started back in 1999. It's not my only recipe book. Trust me. Are you kidding me? You should see how many recipes I have. But some of my faithful classic recipes began in this book. And every Christmas, this is the book that I pull out to make my 5 different shortbread cookies. So I have 5 different versions. So I'm going to have some fun here. If you're still watching this, look, started in spring 1990. That's when my now ex-husband and I built a house together, which was so crazy. Thought it was going to take us 3 months, took us almost a year. And then when we moved in, it was like bare bones. We were struggling. We were young, trying to get a business up off the ground, become an adult, be responsible. And that was crazy financial times, let me tell you. However, perseverance pays off. And so I finally had my own kitchen, and I had an amazing kitchen. So I couldn't wait to start cooking and grabbing recipes from people that I knew. So I'm not going to share everything with you, but I just want you to understand something, that some of the recipes in here, what's the first recipe I have? And this is not a shortbread. It's a chocolate bar dessert. And man, I remember that recipe because it had score bars in it and it was so good, right? Barbecue pizza, rice and chicken. Look at this for our parties. And this is no word of a lie. I used to make my own Bailey's Irish cream in a blender. And Irish cream, Tia Maria, recipes for that. We'd have that. Marinades, soups. I went to Sheridan College and studied hotel and restaurant management. And I wound up in the kitchen for the first semester in the back, learning how to manage the kitchen. And I remember the teacher coming up to me and going, man, you could do this with your eyes closed. Right. Again, I'm the oldest. So I've been cooking for a long time. How to make my own jam, got my mom's recipe in here, how to make homemade pierogies. I'm Ukrainian. I've got that family recipe in here. A no-bake peach pie. I remember who gave me that. Oh yeah. Who doesn't have the recipe for the classic Rice Krispie squares? And look, this is how I used to get recipes from people. What was in it? I could always how do I get this? I could figure out how to make it. This was my notes on how to make homemade cabbage rolls. Look at it. It's just the ingredients, no measurements. And man, my homemade cabbage rolls are amazing. However, I want to share with you on page 10, right here, page 10, is my first shortbread cookie recipe, the classic shortbread recipe. So I've got my first one there. It's going to be in my recipe book. I've got some other cookie recipes. And then 2 pages later, this one is the big family classic. Oh yeah, I have impressed so many people with this other shortbread recipe. And that's the most sophisticated shortbread recipe that I have. And it's a wow. It's like, you will be the talk of the party if you make that one. That's going to be in my recipe book. And also in a couple of other pages, I have 3 more shortbread cookies, and they're all variations. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Get ready, because this recipe book is going to be done very soon, so people can purchase it in time for the holidays. And to make it ahead of time, make it even between Christmas and New Year's. But it's not just the recipes, because when I make recipes, I keep notes and I keep track of the specific ingredients that I used and how everything turned out, because I want the wow factor. I just don't want simple, especially when it's a gift at Christmas time. So I use amazing ingredients that I have tested, people have commented, whatever, and that's the secret I'm going to be sharing. So if you know someone who wants the amazing shortbread recipes, the book is going to be ready for sale soon, because this is something that my kids have been asking me to do. And this is my legacy. I want to hand this down. So it's going to start with the 5 shortbreads. So I'm getting excited just talking about it. I'm getting hot thinking about it, and I'm excited. And I just want to close off and say that this signature of how I express love and what makes me feel really good is actually validated in my astrological birth chart. It actually says if I spend more time doing this, spending time in my kitchen, I'll be happy. And so that's exactly the message I want to give to you, is I can support you too. And that's part of my 3-month program for the next year. However, because there's 10 different signatures, I'm going to teach you how to uncover it from your own astrological birth chart. But for the month of December, we're going to talk about what you need to feel loved, how you take action in love, and how do you communicate? How do you express yourself in your relationships? And that's the deal for $147. So comment below, let me know. Did you enjoy this? Did you find this interesting? Because remember, astrology is not woo-woo, and it is not for fun and educational purposes. In fact, astrology from a certified astrologer is someone who is a healer. And we can validate so much of what's happening in your life and teach you how to overcome some of the challenges with some of the recommendations, because those recommendations and those remedies are in your birth chart. but you need to have someone to understand how to read them. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. This is going to be posted right across my social media and into my newsletters. And I'm going to get back in my kitchen and I'm going to get my recipe book completed, and I'll be connecting with all of you guys again soon up until December the 24th. So stay calm during this Mercury retrograde that's starting on December the 13th. Bye-bye.